Hi poetry people. Today I'm going to be working on a prompt given to me by Lyric Lab Poetry that is run by the poet Martin Yago. He has given us a prompt to write an English or Shakespearean sonnet under the topic of love in the digital age. So I'm going to start free writing, just to kind of get some ideas there and as well as to get my mind into the writing stage. So here we go.
And what I want you to do now is to write your very own version of an English or Shakespearean sonnet. I keep saying Shakespearean sonnet, and I have at the back of my head this idea that it makes it sound old or outdated. It is not. It's a contemporary. You're going to make a contemporary poem of this received form structure. So what I want you to do this time is to make it in order to make it a really contemporary poem, the theme again is love, but let's talk about love in the digital age. So think about online apps and dating, swiping and ghosting.
Now I've written a couple of pages here and I'm just going to kind of go back and highlight for myself some of the things that I felt were interesting that came out of my free writing. So here I'm just going to say what I found interesting in my writing, which is a lot. So I said, at first when I think about this prompt, I can't help but start with my frustrations. There's literally no other way I can start having this conversation but with being frustrated. It sucks. And I have tension about it. The fact that it takes up space, not only digital space, but mental space as well. And that things move fast in the digital world. We get FOMO. There is an engagement equation, X, Y, Z, X response time, Y number of questions asked, Z types of questions asked, equals to a sum, will I go out with this person or not? There's overfamiliarity. There's sexual talk. There's testing boundaries. And the lack of normal conversational topics, or trying to guide a conversation into normal conversation when people start off with overfamiliarity and sexuality. Then there's the rejection or ugly talk. So being ghosted, no responses, or people getting ugly for no reason. And then there's no reply, which is a rejection, the ghosting. I like this. Ghosting, an inbox graveyard. And I think inbox can be played with in the future because obviously a coffin is a box. So maybe that could be a funny thing about coffins and graveyards of your inbox in the app. And then I like one thing I do like, I wrote perk here. One thing, the one thing is that you do have a sense of who they are a little bit before you meet them. And that profiles do indicate how much effort somebody is willing to put into something prior. So you can weed out at least some of that prior. And then I just really kind of went onto that synthesis of we're all kind of burnt out digitally. And we're all kind of surviving in general, even offline. And we're burnt out because we've been constantly looking for this dopamine because that's what we're being made to do. All of these things have been made to be gamified and it's killing us in a sense. And that depending on who you are, we weren't taught online manners or don't have them anymore because we're tired of it. And some people just don't have manners in general. So I'm going to be able to utilize some of all of this to help build out the sonnet. Since the sonnet has a rhyme scheme, it just helps me to write it out A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. In my paper, I'm actually going to switch to pencil instead of pen in this case because, well, I think that's pretty obvious. So after writing it out in my notebook a little bit, I decided to take it digital to help me see it more clearly and to make easier changes. If I write any more sonnets, I'm just going to make it into a series called Shitty Sonnets. I'm going to call it bad before you can call it bad. And then kind of titled it Dating on Digital Ground. So I first wrote out the rhyme scheme for myself to help guide me. This was taken directly from the notebook. So this is from the notebook draft. In this digital day, I search for love swiping page to page. My first feeling is frustration. All I can say is it sucks. A process that could clinically push someone to insanity, it leads me to rage. I tried to massage the algorithm by paying $100. FOMO triggering game, no amount of megabytes justifies the mental space of steering conversations with men who make sexual suggestions. Where is the button to spray some mace? Bad boy, learn how to ask thoughtful questions. Didn't finish it here because I realized that I was writing it incorrectly and that there's supposed to be only 10 syllables in each line. So I readjusted, and now the second draft is with adjustments. This is closer to a final thing. Now I also want to mention, as part of the shitty sonnets, is that I really have a hard time with the assonance, where I believe it's called assonance, where there are stressed vowels or stressed syllables. I just don't get that because I feel like in English language you can put stress anywhere in a word to make it sound the way you want it to make the emphasis those places. I know that's not what that is, but I have a hard time discerning the two. Anyway, so I don't do that. That's why I'm just going to leave it as a shitty sonnet. So this is closer to the final draft. Dating on digital ground. Find love the digital way. Swipe a page. Feel frustrated, all the profiles suck. 3-second decisions lead me to rage. Feed the algorithm $100. Notifications raid my inner space. No hellos, just sexual suggestions. I request the next update to have mace. Off boy, learn to phrase respectful questions. Despite that, there's ample ghouls for a graveyard. We're burnt up by dopamine fuel, dead tired. I walk this online world a little scarred. Constant pixels fry how I'm hardwired. To the street and poetry sheets I search. Lesson learned, online is no place to lurch. So that's my attempt at this sonnet with the prompt of love in the digital age. And thank you to Martin Diego for lyrical poetry for the prompt.